Welcome to this month's NJBIA Business Growth Roundtable. Let me bring the famous, oh, she's already here. They're already here. See, they know the drill. This is so fabulous. All righty. So thank you all for joining us today. And let me hand it to the fabulous Katie Whitcamp to give us a little insight into what's going on at NJBIA these days.
Oh, thank you so much, Donna. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us at the New Jersey Business and Industry Association's Business Growth Roundtable. We at NJBIA are thrilled to have helped in the creation of this amazing group led by such amazing women. For those of you who are new to NJBIA, we are the nation's largest statewide business association, representing about 1/4 of all New Jersey employees. We offer customer development opportunities, visibility through events, magazine ads, or our podcasts and TV shows. We also offer money-saving discounts on stuff you're probably already paying for, like payroll, healthcare, 401k solution, 24/7 HR support. I am Katie Whitcamp with the Business Development Team, and if you're interested in more info on us, I'll drop the website into the chat along with my contact info. Would love to talk to you. Please feel free to reach out and be in touch, and we can get you whatever you need. And with that, I am going to turn it over to the marvelous Lorena Mascaro of Paradigm Marketing and Design.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you, Donna. Hi, everyone. I am Lorena Mosquera. I am the workflow strategist with Paradigm Marketing and Design, and so excited to be here. As you know, we are a marketing, website, branding, and workflow agency, and we'd love to do it all with the goal of making sure that there is always a blend between human behavior and technology to get our clients data-driven, smart making decisions because of the data that they have. I want to share a little bit about our sponsors today before we go into today's program. So first off, I want to thank Kim Luthi, the Director of Wealth Planning with Synthesis Wealth Planning. As the Director of Wealth Planning, she has dedicated herself to really empowering her clients to control their own destiny. She's a highly qualified professional with more than 33 years of experience, and she's earned her CFP, which is the Certified Financial Planner designation, which, by the way, many people do not get. So you want to make sure you have those 3 little initials. And that really illustrates her completion of the rigorous training and ethical requirements of the CFP board. In addition to her CFP designation, she's earned very other professional designations, such as Certified Fund Specialist, Certified in Long-Term Care, Registered Representative. She deals with life, accident, and health, etc. She's also a Certified Divorce Financial Analyst. And I think that's one of the key things that I want to kind of share with you. If you've got anyone that is looking to go through a divorce right now, primarily women, I know she works with a lot of women, it is essential for them to be able to know what their options are. And Kim is able to provide them some help in avoiding some common financial pitfalls of divorce by offering insight into the pros and cons of different divorce settlements while she's serving in the role of financial advisor. So definitely reach out to Kim. Next, I want to tell you a little bit about Laura Crothers. Now, if you haven't met Laura Crothers, you definitely should schedule some time with her. Laura Crothers from Crothers Consulting has been helping leaders gain clarity about people, leadership, and culture. She's got a team of, I think, about 25 at this point, and 12 years into this, she's still creating unique ways of training rising managers and leaders across the U.S., increasing the leadership effectiveness. She works with leaders and HR teams, and they all rely on the Crothers fractional HR leadership to really understand the nuances of high growth organizations as they continue to design their HR programs and fine tune their practices. Last but not least, we've got Cal, and Cal Thomas from Sandler is one of my favorite people that I work with. Actually, all the people that are on this webinar today are my favorite people, to be honest, and I'm not even exaggerating. But Cal Thomas with Sandler, he is really all about creating all the kind of training that your team might need. He's going to help companies increase sales, market share, and profits through unique training and consultation services based on the Sandler system. So I know that everyone on our team has to be Sandler trained. So if you are frustrated by lengthening sales cycles, worried about sales pipelines that maybe aren't consistently full, overwhelmed with managing underperforming salespeople, or discouraged that overall business has kind of plateaued a little bit, please feel free to reach out to Cal and he can equip you with the tools necessary to really leverage best practices and the Sandler methodology to gain a competitive sales advantage, resulting hopefully and more surely in higher revenues and stronger customer relationships. With that said, I'm going to sign off. Again, I am Lorena Mosquera, the workflow strategist at Paradigm Marketing and Design. I would love to schedule a workflow strategy with you. And really, workflow is everything that has to do with implementing workflow efficiencies that can be tools such as that lovely acronym of a CRM, which is customer relationship management tool, or any other sort of technology to really help you streamline, organize, and scale successfully. So if you've got concerns with lacking manpower or resources, please feel free to reach out. And I would love to set up some time to see how we can make technology and human behavior work together. With that, I'm going to pass it back on over to Donna. Oh, you're muted, Donna.
I'm usually the last person to do that, but oh well, just goes to show no one's perfect and perfection's overrated. So before we jump into the program today, I do want to talk about two things. Well, more than two things. First of all, we skip the roundtable in August because we believe in a little concept called work-life harmony, and we believe we should all take time off. So we all take August off. In September, I am super excited to welcome back to the roundtable Dave Matson, who is the president and CEO of Sandler Training and Management globally. Dave Matson was the guy who kicked off this entire thing, which I think is over 2 years ago now. So I'm going to drop the link right now.
And he's got some amazing points he's going to be talking about. I mean, if you guys have not heard him speak, I mean, this is definitely an event not to miss. He is going to be really talking about rapid transformation when you're embracing the shift in the different sales dynamics that we have going on today. We're all talking a lot about AI and what is artificial intelligence, how can we leverage it? And he's really going to be talking about utilizing AI-powered insights to really unlock some of that growth potential that your company should have. And future-proofing sales, you know, we're trying to make sure we're always staying ahead in a competitive landscape. How can you actually do that? How can you leverage some of the different AI tools to get you to that point? So those are three, I think we can do a webinar on each one of those topics alone. So this is going to be a really fun-filled, tons of information webinar coming up in September.
Yeah. We're super excited, I said, to start the year off. And I realize September isn't the beginning of the year, but it kind of feels like the second beginning of the year.
It's back to school time, which means that it's the beginning of the year for everybody.
Yeah, and it's certainly the beginning of the end of the year. So if you haven't hit your numbers, you all start working really hard in the fourth quarter. But if you worked with Cal and Sandler, you might be there already. Anyway, so also a little bit of housekeeping before I bring our panelists up today. Thank you, Lorena. Thank you, Katie. Couple things. A, we are recording. B, we will allow for time at the end of this event for some Q&A. I'm going to ask you to use the Q&A portion of your Zoom platform. The chat gets a little unwieldy when we have crowds this large. But I do want to encourage you, use the chat window, and Lorena will be kind of fueling this, and Katie can chime in as well throughout the event. But use that chat window. That's a little bit of virtual networking. The truth is, you are in a room with a whole bunch of people who are committed to the same things that you're committed to, which is, you know, getting better at what we do. So with that, I am going to share my screen and I'm going to welcome Kelly and Michelle to the stage. And let me just kind of backtrack. Let me do my share, make sure I have that. Are y'all looking at the right thing? You're looking at my PowerPoint slide? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Awesome. Okay. So I didn't say this, and it's kind of important. Some of you may know this, but I am Donna Miller. I am president and founder of C3 Workplace and Donna Miller Business Growth Consulting, where for nearly 30 years, we've been helping companies to accelerate their growth by providing support and advisory services around operations, business development, and finance. We allow growing teams of business owners to work smarter by focusing on that which truly drives their business forward. Our clients know that by bringing us in to build systems that are efficient, connected, and executable, they are laying the foundation for a company that will run and grow without them involved in every little detail. You know, that scaling that we're all trying to do. So this is what we'll be talking about today. And let me tell you a little bit about Kelly and Michelle are both partners. That's new information at C3 Workplace. Kelly has a talent for fusing creativity, collaboration, and measurable results. She has worked alongside a diverse clientele of business owners to create, build, and deliver successful, transformative, big word at C3 Workplace, solutions for various operations and systems. Her professionalism and good humor nature, you will see that today, guarantee, ooh, big word, a pleasant working experience mixed with real results. How cool is that? Michelle, also a partner at C3, has over 20 years of experience in helping companies with their business operations and management with a strong background in startup. She's been fortunate to be involved in every aspect of running a small business. She understands the challenges they face, and she's able to use her knowledge to help them succeed by managing administrative and operational tasks. She also has a great desire. She has had some great mentors in her life, and that's also something she offers to the clientele that we serve. So, ladies, are we ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we are here today to talk about automation, integration, and efficiencies. Now, we kind of started this conversation last month when we talked about artificial intelligence, and this is a little bit of a part 2 kind of thing, but always important to me to manage expectations. So what I want you to do right now as we begin our presentation is, what is it you are hoping to hear today? This is such a broad topic. What is it you are hoping to hear today when you signed up for this webinar? So I will watch the chat and we will do our best to make sure we weave that into the conversation. Now, I want to start with what I think is the overall, we're going to talk about a couple things here. We're going to talk about lean methodologies and creating a culture for that. We're going to talk about automation, integration, and efficiency as it applies to your customer experience, as it applies to your team experience. And then we'll talk about a little bit about implementation and best practices around getting everyone in the boat, your company, rowing in the same direction. Big accomplishment. So the thing is, what we know is that most companies operate and use their software at something like a 30 to 35% capacity. That means we're missing out on 65 to 70% of what our programs are able to do. So to me, the first part of creating a culture of lean methodologies is creating a culture where people want to learn, where they're encouraged to learn, where it's okay to make suggestions, where it's okay to fail, where it's okay to take a little bit longer to figure something out because it's going to save time down the road. So to me, when I think about this topic, and really, honestly, when I think about most any topic in business growth, I really do think the roots for that are in your culture. I believe culture eats strategy for breakfast. Create the right culture and everything else will follow. So with that, let's get this party started, and let me hand it to the fabulous Kelly Lauro, where we'll talk about customer experience.
Awesome.
Kelly, take it away.
Thank you so much, Donna. And thank you all for joining us today. As Donna mentioned, we're here today because automation, integration, and boosting efficiencies are huge aspects of the work that we do with our clients every day at C3. And during this presentation, we'll be focusing on a few areas of your business and how these efficiencies can make a big difference in overall operations, which will ultimately provide some growth opportunities, which is what we all want, right? So what I'll be focusing on first is the customer experience, which is the overall perception that customers have when interacting with you and your business. This is not limited to a single interaction, but it extends across multiple channels and stages from your website, your social media, your telephone answering, customer service, your billing, your reviews, all of it, even the way you ask for referrals, all of it is part of this customer experience. So today I'll be focusing specifically how we use CRM systems as a central hub to help automate and integrate all of these other areas, just to make your life easier and the customers, which is, always good. So from the moment a potential client finds you, you should be providing a pleasant and memorable experience. because this helps build customer loyalty. It improves their satisfaction. It differentiates you from competitors and ultimately will drive the growth. So it's a little make or break, no pressure, but you just want to make sure you have it set up properly to reflect you and the great work that you can do for these people. So the entire experience, you should be focusing on personalization, making it convenient, responsive, consistent, and ultimately all of those together make it very impressive. So if you see here on the slide, we have some of those top attributes and some stats to go with it of what a good customer experience is. And I have these here because all of these and more, as you'll see, can and should be automated or integrated within your CRM system to integrate with your other systems that you use on a daily basis. This will ensure a seamless experience for your clients and ultimately ease of management for you and your staff. Now, before we go on, there's one important note I want to say, and that is automation is a great help, but human touch is still key. You are the face, you are the heart, you and your staff of the business. Automation and integration helps free up time to help focus on the touches that you need to do, not replace them. So always keep that in mind. This is all to help you. This isn't just, so you can go off riding into the sunset. You will eventually, but you still need to be there a little bit for these to help you. Donna, anything you want to add before we move on?
Yeah, no, I love this topic, and we'll talk more. And again, we talked about CRM last month and AI integrates. We'll talk about a little bit more nuts and bolts. But the one thing I want to impart with all of you, and listen to me when I say this, how you prospect shows your potential clients how you do business. So this process is not only efficient, but it's a living, breathing, walking, talking example of what it's going to be like to do business with you. You have to get this right. And Kelly will talk more about this. It is an ongoing, it is not a set it and forget it. So that is what I would add, Kelly.
Yes, absolutely. It's all true. So here, what we've got are, what are top ways to automate the customer experience and improve that retention? So ideally, overall, if you want to, what I would say are the top things to do is you want to automate responses where you can, set up personalization settings, automatically send templates or documents, and you want to keep that communication consistent across all of your channels because it will greatly reduce your time. It reduces errors, which is magnificent, and it can set up alerts or tasks so that you can have sort of a nice to-do list pre-built into your day. Now here you see, I'm going to focus on what I call the 4 stages of the customer experience. There's that initial engagement when they find you. There's that lead when they become a qualified lead and they're interested. There's when they are a customer, and then there's that retention. So to reiterate on CRM systems, which is where we kind of live in, it's the heart of it. It sort of ties it all together. It's that central hub where it all comes together. There is a lot of customization that can happen. But what I'm going to do is just address what I feel is the most important aspect of each stage for time's sake, because I could talk for hours on this if you let me, and we only got an hour. So I'm just going to talk on one, and we can always talk more if this is something you're interested in. But first off, we've got the engagement. When someone first finds you, wherever it may be, I would say no matter what, you want to try to personalize the customer experience to the individual as much as possible. So whatever touch point invited them in, whether it's the form on your website, a sign up for a giveaway, download tools, etc., whatever it is, it should include some relevant questions or specifications in the form. Because what you do is by connecting your CRM form to your website, you collect and utilize this data. So you can offer personalized recommendations, you can give them relevant content, and you can target promotions that will benefit them. Automatically, you want to show that you understand and value each customer as an individual. And this all happens with asking them, and listening and letting them tell you what they need. And if they don't know right away, they can see what else there is because of those questions and because of those specifications. There's more information you're giving while getting, which is always helpful. Now, once they're the lead, I would say one of the most important things you want to do then is take the data you've gotten and personalize. So once a customer enters into that lead territory, you want to use the personalization you built in the prior step to aid you in your conversations. So look at this analytics, look at this data before you even speak to them on the phone or before you meet with them. You want to see how have they engaged with you. Are they on your email marketing list? Are they clicking? Are they downloading anything? Perhaps this is somebody that you've spoken to 5 years ago and they didn't really have, they didn't sign up then, but they might now. Hopefully you've kept notes because that's a big part of our system here is you want to live in it and you want to document. So you want to see notes from past meetings. Look at the options they've selected on initial forms, any notes, emails, etc. Your emails can integrate so you could see anything that has happened or anything they submitted. So this is where that personal touch is vital. You want to show them that you're already listening to their needs before they even sign on. And then the next part, they are your customer. And one of the big points I would like to say is proactive communication is really, really key. You know the onboarding experience of a new client. You know the usual timing and what needs to happen when. So you should anticipate these needs and reach out to provide either relevant information or documentation before being asked. It's going to be impressive. It's going to make your life easier. And then when you set up that communication campaign to send at certain points of the customer journey, you can also have some triggers that go off. So if somebody clicks on something, or if there's some action that requires your attention, you're going to get a task on your list. Again, you want to show you're listening, you're active, you are there for the client, and they're important to you. And then finally, with retention, again, there's a lot of things we can talk about, but one of the top ones I like to utilize is seeking feedback. So again, personalizing the experience by asking them, like, what could we do better or different? You want to promote advocacy through active listening. Show that you care if they're having a good experience or not. CRM has surveys that you can send. It has email templates with links or information that you can prompt to send or schedule, or you can just send them whenever you want. And this all should link back to the customer's profile. So again, you have data. What are they liking? What are they not? What are they using? What are they not? It's making you informed and it's helping you be a better business owner to your customers. Now, one final note before we go to the next slide is I'd like to address that CRM systems, which can integrate with everything, I'm going to talk about that in a second, is that they really aren't a set it and forget it, like Donna said. You should be in your system every day. When you onboard a client, all that relevant information should be input. When you, when you're making prospecting calls, you should be writing that down. You should be taking notes when you're on the calls with people. This is something you should have open and are actively in every day because that's the best way that it will work for you. Donna, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. So throw me a 1 in the chat if you read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek. I always refer to Tim Ferriss as like batshit brilliant, and he really is. And this is where I first learned it about templates. Tim Ferriss was like, template everything. And we have the most robust library of templates. We barely write real emails anymore, which is a beautiful thing. But from a growing your team perspective, what having all those templates does is it creates, wait for it, a unified voice. Everyone in your company is saying the same things in the same ways, and then they make it their own. It's a huge efficiency, automation, integration, etc. So, okay, off soapbox. Carry on.
No, it is great. And it helps, the staff get to know the business better because it's all action. A lot of the times you don't know until you do, and you'll see it in action. And that's always helpful. So the last thing I'd like to talk about, and I'm just going to touch upon it again because there is so much that's possible. I just wanted to sort of give you a peek because again, we have more to talk about and I don't want to take the whole time, but integration. So usually when we're working with a new company, we build specific integrations because everyone is different, everyone's needs are different. So for today, in order to give you just a few examples of the capabilities, here's a literal snapshot, a little screenshot of just some of the integration possibilities across different platforms that you probably use on an everyday basis, because I know we do. So you should be aware that your CRM system, we use Zoho. I saw that was a question. We use Zoho personally, but there are many out there that have similar functionality or, you know, that we've worked with before, but the integrations are amazing. So Acuity is one of them. That's our calendar scheduling. Anytime a potential client goes to our calendar, information goes into Zoho. Our project management, which is Asana, which our lovely Michelle is going to get into more detail on very soon. Any email marketing platforms, your Gmail, your Outlook, your messaging like your Slack, or even your QuickBooks and your finance and accounting software. There are so many possibilities to make not only your life as a business owner easier, but these efficiencies are going to benefit your customers ultimately. Once you know that the possibilities are out there, I really sincerely hope that you've got those little wheels turning and you're thinking of the possibilities that you have at your fingertips just to make your life easier and to make the experience better. Because we are only scratching the surface, but I and everyone on our team fully ascribe to there must be a better way mentality. And this automation, especially with CRM systems, is a huge reason for our efficiency. So we love to share it with y'all.
I agree. I'm one of those people that, you know, if I can do one task and check 3 boxes, it's like, that to me is like a huge win. And it is for all of us. That said, before we switch to our next section where we talk about team, what I do want to say, and I know I could just see Lorena cringing as I say this, there is, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, there is an appropriate level of integration and there is over integration. Mm-hmm. You don't need the biggest, best everything. You need the pieces of it that will work specifically for your team and your company. And it doesn't all have to happen at once. In fact, we'll talk about that more later. One-way integration might make sense. Synchronization is something you kind of have to be careful with if you've got a lot of data. So anyway, you really need to take a look at which pieces of this make the most sense for you. The capabilities are frankly endless. So, you know, like Kelly said, we're kind of scratching the surface, but let's shift. So we wanted to talk about the customer experience as far as integration, automation, and efficiencies. But one of the areas where we've gained a lot of traction is, and again, this comes down to culture, and it's the foundation for all of this, is our onboarding. So Michelle, talk to us a little bit about how all of us, you know, it's a tough job market out there. It's hard finding people. Talk to us about automating our onboarding process with our teams internally.
Thank you, Donna, and welcome everyone. So what does automating employee onboarding look like, and why should you integrate it into your process? By integrating and automating an employee onboarding process, it'll streamline the entire process, save time, and ensure consistency each time you go through the new hire process. So in order to do this, we want to follow a few steps. First step is identify the current onboarding process. What does your current onboarding process look like? Map it out. And as you're mapping it out, look at the tasks that can be automated. Those are the tasks that you're going to want to concentrate on. So once you've mapped out your current onboarding process, then create a checklist. This will help keep track of what needs to be automated and ensure that nothing is missed. You'll use this checklist each time you go through the process. So you want to make sure it includes every step, and that will include your automated steps along with any other steps that may change. The most important part is just to get them identified and listed out. And you can house that checklist in either an Excel document, a Word document, or a task project management tool, which we will talk about shortly. That's when I get super excited. And then you'll create a templated handbook. Hopefully you already have a handbook in place, but you will review your handbook and identify which sections are consistent and will not change for each new hire or position. And some examples of those sections may be your mission, value, vision section, maybe your culture section, the descriptions of your platforms, or meet the team. So those sections should stay consistent and only change when something internally changes. Once you've got those identified, you're going to review the other sections that will change due to the position or the person you're hiring. You'll want to highlight those sections so they stand out. That way you can concentrate on just those sections rather than the entire document each time you go through the onboarding process. And then at C3, we actually do what's called a buddy system. So we assign a buddy or someone that's within the organization to help the new hire integrate quickly and smoothly. This person basically becomes the person that the new hire will go to for questions. It helps accelerated integration and socialization along with building a supportive and collaborative work environment. We've actually had a few employees tell us that the buddy system was super helpful when integrating them into our culture. You'll also want to automate your IT and training. IT setup and training is very important, especially now that most businesses use many platforms and apps, which new hires may not be familiar with. Streamline your IT setup process by automating accounts, email addresses, maybe software installations, and access necessary system tools. And then your training should be conducted within the first few days of the new hire's start date. This will ensure that they know which programs to utilize, when, and for what purposes. You'll also want to try to automate any documentation, digitize these forms, use electronic signature tools. This will provide time and a cost efficiency, improve accuracy, enhance accessibility and flexibility. And it will streamline the overall process. Once you have those documents digitized, you'll want to set up a centralized location to save these documents so you can go back, you know where they're located each time. And that may be either Dropbox or Google Drive or SharePoint, whichever cloud-based or location that you use to save and house documents for your teams. You'll want to provide digital resources and training materials. Develop an online location where new hires can access digital resources, training materials, policies, and company information. Again, you're going to want to create those so they're consistent and they're ready to go. This will make it easy for new employees to familiarize themselves with the organization, culture, and necessary job-related information. Then you'll also want to integrate regular check-ins with your new hire. And in integrating the check-ins into your process by utilizing scheduling software and then also creating KPIs so your employees know what is expected of them. Check-ins should be with the supervisor and the buddy. And you can decide how often you want those or what is discussed. That's entirely up to you and your team. And then the KPIs are created by the supervisor. So the employee has a clear understanding of their expectations, align goals, monitor performance, support development, foster accountability, and promote effective communication. So remember, as Kelly mentioned earlier, while automation can streamline the onboarding process, it's essential to maintain a balance by incorporating human interaction and support when needed. That's still very important.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And what I wanted to say also is, I think that in some of these systems, this is a great example of, an example of integration to lay over this is where all of this resides is by links. So no matter what platform you're using, always be using hyperlinks. Super simple efficiency, be using hyperlinks. The other thing is, and this is something Michelle and I have worked on, but even in this onboarding process, some of this is as simple as, this is old school, but do you have a file naming protocol? How do you name files so that everybody can find what they're looking for? And that's part of your onboarding. So, kind of like I said at the beginning, it's the 100 little things you do. There really is no magic bullet here. It's 100 little things that you do just that much better that creates massive results. And all of this, and I know Brothers Consulting can help you with all of this onboarding and creating procedure and protocol and automation around this, it is absolutely going to contribute to a culture where you are setting the bar high. As soon as they come in, they see this is how you operate and that's how they're going to operate. So it's important for so very many different reasons. And, as I talked about putting all these things different places, let me have Michelle take the stage again and talk about her favorite. We're really all nerds at heart. Well, maybe not me. Just kidding.
Oh, please, you're the queen.
Yes, This is where I'm super excited. This is like my love language. How do you go from chaos to streamlined organization and processes? Ding, 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 ding. Answer, task project management tool. Believe me, this will be your number one friend. When you're looking for a task project management tool, you'll want to evaluate your needs. What does you and your team need? What type of projects are you looking at automating and adding to the tool? Some factors to consider are like features. What features does the tool have? Are they features that you will utilize? Ease of use. Is it user-friendly? Are you going to use it? Because obviously, if you set it up, you don't use it, it's a waste of time. Scalability. Will the tool grow with your company? And then integration capabilities. Most, if not all, task project management tools integrate with other platforms and programs. So you want to take a look at, what are you currently using? Does this tool integrate with those on down the road? So a few examples of a task project management tool. My number one is Asana. Love Asana. We use Asana at C3. Trello, Mondays.com, Basecamp, Microsoft Project Management. Again, those are just a few. There are plenty out there. So just make sure as you're choosing a platform that they will fill the needs of you and your team. So once you have that platform chosen, you'll want to assess your current workflow and identify tasks that can be automated. They may be repetitive or time-consuming activities that can be streamlined. You'll take a look at those, your current workflow. What are those tasks? And the ones that can be automated are the ones that you'll want to concentrate on. Once you have that in place, you'll plan your implementation process. So before implementing the tool, create a plan to ensure a smooth transition. Define your implementation objectives, timeline, and key stakeholders involved. You will assign roles and responsibilities to team members. It's very important that each team member that will be involved either with the implementation or ongoing, they understand what their roles and responsibilities will be. Then you will customize the tool. So you'll tailor it to fit your team's specific needs, set up the necessary workflows, project templates, task lists, and custom fields. You may configure the tool's settings, permissions, and notifications based on your team's preference and processes, and ensure the tool structure reflects your team's existing projects, tasks, and priorities. And again, you want to tailor it based on your need. Then once you have the basics set up, you will then start automating tasks and projects. So start setting up your project templates, your task templates. This can include predefined task details, subtasks, checklists, and attachments. Configure task assignments rules based on project roles, teams, or individual workload. So then most, or if not all, project and task management tools come with either automated reminders or notifications. And these reminders and notifications may be for upcoming task deadlines that will notify the team, maybe a task assignment or a change in task status. And that could be a simple email into maybe your Outlook inbox, or it may have an inbox within the tool that will notify you. Then once you've got the basis set up, you've got your projects, you've got your tasks, your templates set up, and you start feeling comfortable, you'll want to start integrating this tool with other tools. So what other platforms that you're using, communication tools like Teams, maybe Outlook, or your CRM, you'll start integrating your project management tool with these other platforms so you can start automating other areas of your business. And my last advice would probably be patient. This is a process, and sometimes it takes a while to fine tune. You will get frustrated, unfortunately, and you'll be making many changes as you go through and start utilizing it. However, I promise you, it will be well worth it when it's set up and implemented. So by following these steps, you can integrate a task project management tool and leverage its automation features to optimize task management, improve team collaboration, and enhance overall efficiency.
Yeah, we have templates in Asana for every one of these events because there's about 22 different things we have to do within each task. It's automatically assigned to a person. there's links to the protocol or the videos or how to do that or the files. So it's all integrated and it's super efficient. And the other thing I want to say about project management software is you can use it for more than project management. It is my #1 email reducer. I get so much less email because we use project management, and the comments end up in the project, which is where they belong. But it also allows me to create agenda lists. So instead of interrupting my team, when I get an idea, which happens about 82,000 times a day, I can put it in an Asana project that we have that's an agenda, and then I'm not interrupting anyone. Super, super efficient.
Yeah. And Michelle has this great way too of having it look the way you want. Sometimes it's a calendar, sometimes it's a list, like visually, whatever works for you, you can change that too. And she's always
Awesome. So Michelle, talk to us a little bit about integration and workflow.
Sure. Okay, so to ensure a smooth integration and workflow, I have 3 top tips. First, you want to create your clear communication channel, and Donna kind of touched on that. What is your preferred communication method within your team? Some of those examples may be your project updates. How are you going to update your projects? Again, a project management tool is great to allow your team members to enter their comments so everyone else can see where that task is in the process. Team updates. How do you want it to update, your team? Whether it is your project management tool, maybe it's an email, maybe you have another separate document, and casual conversation. How do you want your team to do casual conversation? Meaning, hey, I have one quick question. You don't want to send an email because we're trying to reduce email. So, for instance, like at C3, we use Teams. We use that as a quick casual conversation. If we have a quick question, we can send that. So number 2 advice, I would say, and this is very important, document processes and best practices. Create your SOPs, and I cannot say that enough. Create your SOPs for every project, every task, step that you have that you need to perform. The SOPs will serve as a document so you can jump right in and you can follow each step by step. Not only is it important to create the SOPs, but it's also important to update the SOPs. And unfortunately, I'm not so great at that sometimes. I forget to do that, but I'm telling you, you should update your SOPs. That way they're updated for anyone new that needs to step in for that project. And then once you've got those SOPs created, create a central location. Have a central location to house those SOPs so everyone knows where to find those. Again, they could be SharePoint, Dropbox, Google Drive, or Asana, or your project management tool. You could create a project to house your SOPs so they're all in one location. I know, Kelly, you're probably getting sick of me saying, Asana.
Never. I love it.
And then number 3 will be cross-training. It's very important to cross-train your team so you have multiple employees on either a project, a task, or a client, depending on what it is. This will enhance employee versatility, promote flexibility, and increase organizational efficiency. And I can guarantee your clients will love it, especially if you have a client or a team member that's out for a while unexpectedly. Someone else can jump in because they're cross-trained and because you have your SOPs. So by integrating and implementing these strategies, you can create your culture and environment that supports efficient processes and workflows.
Absolutely.
Would you like to add anything else, Donna?
Yes. And you know what I want to talk about? The one thing I want to say about this is getting everyone involved is so important. And how do you test an SOP? You give it to someone who doesn't know how to do the task and see if they can follow the SOP and get the task done. And that, did I mention I love checking multiple boxes? That tests the SOP and does some cross training. It's a beautiful thing. Okay.
And we've also had someone new to the process create the SOP as well,
Exactly.
because that helps in the process, right?
Exactly. Okay. So we've talked about collecting a lot of data here, and before we get to Q&A, and we'll kind of speed things up a little bit. So please drop your questions in Q&A. We've been gathering all this data. Kelly, what are we going to do with that data?
Okay, so on the CRM side of things, what you want to do is the CRM is going to set you up for success. So the data and analytics provide a roadmap of where your efforts should be focused, and the automated processes almost always provide reporting of some kind. Some top examples I have here are, just the fact that there is the centralized customer data. It collects and organizes it in one place, allowing you to have a comprehensive view of your customers and kind of what's going on. And because of that, you can automate reports. And there, again, are so many options, but some big ones we use might be based on some specific demographics that we're trying to target, or referrals, who's giving us referrals, who's giving you business, what industry are people in, where are the lead sources, the location, anything. You can get really granular with your targeting and your efforts, and therefore you get better measurable results. The next one is the pipeline. So you can see what is going on at any given moment, like who's where, who are you gaining, who are you losing, where are the potentials, where, again, do you need to focus your energy as the business owner and not waste your time talking to people that you might not need to talk to. And then finally is engagement. Who's listening? Who's watching what you're doing, who's clicking, who should you reach out to, and who should you not? So this is just setting yourself up for success because you have information to work with, and it's just going to make your life easier.
Yeah. And, bottom line, it's about ROI. You have to figure out, I always say this to people, it's so simple, and I don't really have anything new to say. I just keep repeating the same stuff. But the truth is, you have to figure out, it's the Pareto principle. What is the 20% that you should focus on that drives 80% of your results? If you can find that lane, and that lane tends to shift, if you can find that lane, you are going to create exponentially better results. Now, anybody who's heard me speak has also heard me go on a bit about the importance of knowing your numbers. It's super important. And although we haven't talked about accounting and QuickBooks today, I do want to stop there for a minute and have Michelle talk to us a little bit about where we can find automation and therefore data from, in particular, QuickBooks, but I know all financial systems do this.
Sure. So automating your QuickBooks reports or financial reports will obviously save you some time and money. You'll have faster reporting because they'll be set up. There may be a few parameters that you may need to change. It'll streamline your workflow. And then, of course, scalability and efficiency. Project management culture should also include time tracking, which should fully integrate within your financial reporting. That way you have it fully integrated. You're gathering all of the data and the numbers, including your time tracking. It also, you'll be able to review and analyze the obvious as your revenue and expense, but you'll also be able to review and analyze your profitability of the company, your projects, and employees.
And I have to say, I think you all know this, a couple of years ago, I stole this from Simon Sinek's Infinite Game, and I gave myself a new title, which is Chief Visionary Officer, because my job is to see around corners. And what I look for on data is I look at trends, what's happening, and that helps me to see around corners. So if you can pull data that demonstrate trends for your business, it's super powerful in creating growth. Now, it all sounds great, right? Tons of fabulous information. But I don't know if any of you have ever tried this and went, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. How the heck am I going to do this? We do understand that. So we wanted to take a minute to talk about how do you overcome resistance with your teams when you're implementing these big systems that can look a little hairy and scary when you first start working with them. So Michelle, what advice would you give our audience for overcoming resistance?
Well, I would say my top 3 tips when deploying a project management tool. One, which is probably most important, is involve your key stakeholders and provide training. It's very important to get everyone on board so that you can get everyone's buy-in. And other team members might have specific needs that you may not have thought about. And then, of course, providing training. You want to make sure that you provide training so they know how to utilize, and that, again, that they will buy into it. Number two would be clearly defining your goals and requirements. You want to make sure that you're defining your goals and requirements when choosing the platform, but then also when implementing it as well. So your team understands why you're using this and how you're going to use it. And then the third tip I would say would be to start with a phased approach. Like I had said before, when integrating a project management tool, it's going to be a huge undertaking and it is going to get a little frustrated. So you want to ensure that you roll it out in steps and phases so you don't overwhelm your team.
Awesome.
Or yourself.
Or
Yeah,
yourself.
absolutely.
Right.
And you know, I do have to say, Cal just put a comment in, Cal from Sandler, in the chat. He said, understand the cost of not doing it. That is so true. So Kelly, how do you help overcome resistance when you're working with clients?
This was a good slide for me because Michelle and I think it's similar, wherever you're working, a lot of what you need to do remains the same. But I'd say the three big ones for me, especially with CRM, is clearly defining your objectives and assessing your needs. Because as we mentioned before, there is a lot you can do. There's a lot of integration. There's a lot of possibilities, but you know your business best and you know what you need, you should know sort of what you need. You might not know exactly, but obviously working with someone can help you with that. But you should know exactly what you require from it. Do you need help here or there? It's clearly defining what you need to implement and to focus on. The next is a big one, is planning for the data migration, because we all do. We have contacts and information in about 100 different places. So one of the things that makes it easier is compiling all of that specifically, I would say into a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet or some kind of spreadsheet for ease of imports, and just so that we can, so you can manipulate the data and make sure it's consistent and clean, and just make it easier for you right in the beginning. And then again, this isn't a set it and forget it. So you should be in there all the time, and you want to continue to customize and configure. And like I said, in the beginning, you might not know exactly what you need or what that looks like, but as you're using it, it will become clearer. And it's such a nice feeling when you do so. It's just like, oh, that just freed up so much of my time, and it looks good when people come, and it's impressive. So, those are the big ones. I'd say it's similar across the board, but, knowing what you need or thinking about what you need, using your data or cleaning it up, and then using it on a consistent basis to, make it better. My top ones.
Awesome. So what I would add to that is, and this is not rocket science, but it applies everywhere. You really have to think about when you're embarking on these transformations, which, trust me, these are transformational endeavors. You have to think about what's in it for the other person, what's in it for your team, what's in it for your client. When you want to get people on board with what you're doing, you have to think of this from their perspective, not your perspective. So you're the management team and you're thinking, this is going to save time, this is going to save money, this is going to, do all of this. Well, you have to reframe that in, this is going to make your job easier. This is going to accelerate your professional competence. So you really have to make sure that you give them a why that they can attach themselves to. It can be your why, but you have to make sure that they understand it. And here's the other thing that I want to also mention is, I believe that as we grow our companies and as we have people working with us, our job is not to know the answers. Our job is to ask good questions and know where to find the answers. And I really believe that with all of these processes, when you implement a big process like this, whether it's your CRM or your project management or integrating your applications, you probably don't have the right expertise in-house. So I highly recommend looking outside your own team to interview multiple vendors as if they were going to be a hire. Hold them to the same standards you hold your own team to. Make sure they're asking you good questions. Make sure they're helping you get clear on what it is you want to accomplish. And which pieces of this make sense for you to start with. So if we're talking about a phased approach, which I really believe in spoon feeding this to teams until it's obvious that they can go at a faster pace. So it might make sense that, you know, how you overcome resistance is to bring in outside people to help you get the initial setup going. And then over time, that vendor should be teaching you how to be more self-sufficient. You may not ever do all of this, but the truth is we still have outside help that we call in, even though we're very good at CRM, Zoho in particular, and we're very good at Asana, but we don't know everything. We're, you know, there's always something going on. So overcoming resistance is learning to ask good questions and asking for help when you need help. And I want to, we have a few minutes left for a couple of questions. I'm looking in. Yes, asking for help is key, Lorena. So let me stop share. Oh, no, let me not stop share because did I mention that how you prospect is how you do business? Okay, we're going to send this in a follow-up, but we would like to offer you an operational assessment, which, hello, is a survey in Zoho. We do walk the talk the walk. I never know which way you say that. Anyway,
I don't know
so
either.
we have a little operational assessment that will help you determine kind of where you are in the process of, do I have the systems I need? Are my systems integrated? This, Kelly, why don't you drop this link in the chat window as well? But so that's the automated part. And then we'll wrap around at a call. We're happy to jump on a call with you, assess what you have. Listen, if you want to do business with us, great, but that is not why we're doing it. We believe in bringing value to the world. We believe that that's how we all, you know, rising tide lifts all boats. So this will be in your follow-up emails. Kelly dropped the link in the chat. And let me stop sharing. Okay, so here we are. So we have time for a couple of questions. So Jennifer Roy asked about recommendations for the top 3 platforms for data analytics. Jennifer, I want you to know that I'm going to refer that question to the Paradigm team and let them get back to you, because that's really their expertise. And again, remember I just said we may not have all the answers, but we need to know where to find them. I'll make sure you get that answer. Now, on registration, we had a ton of questions. So one of the questions came in was asking about how do you use this in creating pricing formulas? And I'm pulling that out because it was nowhere in our presentation, but I want you to know that one of the ways we've automating doing proposals and prices, well, first of all, we have templates for proposals, and those are, you know, typically Word documents, and we PDF them and they go out. But we have Excel templates for creating pricing. And when we have a new project, we keep all of them. Historically, they're all there. So pricing correctly is a matter of knowing exactly what's involved. And you can, I always say to people, and I know Lorena does this too, learn to, if you can, create some skill around thinking in Excel, right? We've got all this data that we got out of QuickBooks. We know our project profitability out of QuickBooks. We can analyze that data. We know our target markets because we're doing what we need to do in CRM. And as far as pricing goes, it's a combination of how long does it take and what's the value? What's the value? So don't be completely time and billing oriented. Know the value of what you're doing. And it kind of goes back to what Cal said earlier. What's the cost of not making a change? Is it missed opportunity? Is it hard dollars? What is it? So I think the truth is that these efficiencies, integrations, and automations can be used in every area of your business, including how do I price this project? You've got history, you've got data, use it. So I wanted to pull that question out of the many questions. And unfortunately, I'm always amazed every time we do this, the time flies, and our time for today is up. I want to thank all of you. What would you charge someone that's costing a problem? Well, this is funny, Cal. What would you charge someone to fix a problem that's costing them $250,000? It's a great question. It's a really great question. I don't know, Cal, what would you charge them? Too funny. Proverbial question. Yes, it is. Okay, so we want to thank you all for joining us today. We want to remind you that we are taking the month of August off. We hope you all get some summer this summer, as I often say. We thank you all. If there was any questions we didn't answer, you will get follow-up emails. All of us are available. You can visit the C3 Workplace, the Paradigm website, the NJBIA website. And believe me, this is something you want to continuously do. You want to create the culture. You want to make it okay for everyone to contribute. And so with that, I'm going to say it is a wrap. And I thank you all for joining us today.
And don't forget, September, we have a great event. So see you in September.
Yes, September. Dave Mattson, CEO and president of Sandler Global. And he's kind of a great speaker. You won't want to miss that.
Yeah.
Have a
I'm
great
going to
summer,
drop the link
everyone.
again just in case.
Super.
Bye.
Let me let you do that. Lorena, you drop and there we go. All right. So have a great summer, everyone. And I mentioned earlier, Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Work Week. Talk about efficiencies. You might want to make that part of your summer reading. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.